Tonight, NTV Specials and Investigations Unit has learnt of an unsettling environment at the Bomas of Kenya involving embattled CEO Peter Gitaa Koria and the board led by Chairperson Sh8.5m. The bone of contention being the resumption of duties by the CEO following a court injunction on his suspension by the Employment and Labour Relations Court. In a series of correspondences seen by NTV, it appears that the board chairperson Sh8.5m insists that CEO Gitaa is not properly reinstated, while on the other hand, Gitaa, who enjoys the support of Gender and Culture Cabinet Secretary Sh8.5m, wants in. And as our senior specials and investigations reporter Ibrahim Karanja reports, the CEO was earlier today arrested by the EACC over suspected involvement in procurement irregularities amounting to more than 8.5 million Kenya shillings.
Following an April 18th injunction granted by the Employment and Labour Relations Court against his suspension over suspicions of involvement in procurement irregularities, Chief Executive Officer of the Bomas of Kenya, Peter Gitaa, was set to resume duty Friday. But as soon as the meeting for his handover started, and immediately after the opening prayers, EACC officers pounced, driving away with Gitaa, taking him to Integrity Center for processing before arraignment on Monday. This was soon after the ODPP made public its decision to charge Gitaa over procurement irregularities amounting to 8.5 million shillings. Gitaa is suspected to have been involved in the irregular awarding of a tender for the supply of cutlery to various companies, amounting to the loss of the said sums in the financial year 2020-2021. But even before Friday's arrest and the eventual weekend in the cold, it is now emerging that Gitaa's attempts to resume office is troubled. Following the ruling by Justice Matthews Ndumanderi on the 18th of April 2022, issuing an injunction against his suspension, CS Sh8.5m on the 25th of April wrote to Gitaa to resume his duties. This is seen as unprocedural, as it is only the board that could reinstate the embattled CEO. Gitaa had been suspended alongside over 70 other state officers following directions from Head of Public Service Felix Koskei in November last year. They were being probed for alleged graft. But the instruction for reinstatement by CS Sh8.5m wasn't to be, as the board of directors at the Bomas of Kenya, led by Chairperson Sh8.5m, felt that the reinstatement was not properly done, maintaining that Nixon Mugilwa, the finance and administrative manager, remains as the acting chief executive officer. There are a series of letters from different sources which include CS8.5m, the board of directors and the CEO himself, all taking different stances on the matter, but all pointing out to trouble at Bomas. The EACC is also set to appeal the injunction for suspension by the Labour Court, even as Gitaa is arraigned on Monday. Meanwhile, also spending the weekend in custody of the EACC is Taita Taveta County Assembly Clerk Gadiel Maganga, who is suspected for fraudulent expenditure of 17 million shillings incurred in the bonding trip to Zanzibar by 21 MCAs in 2022. Maganga had earlier sought reprieve from the courts against his arrest, but he was unsuccessful and was arrested immediately after. He is being held by the EACC in Mombasa, awaiting arraignment on Monday. Ibrahim Karanja, NTV.